Have you ever played the game telephone? You whisper a phrase to a friend, they whisper it to the next person, and by the end of the line, the story is completely wrong. History works the exact same way. Over thousands of years, facts get twisted into myths. Today, we are going to use modern science to rewind the tape. We are busting 10 giant ancient historical myths in record time. Let's start with the legendary city of Troy. For a long time, people thought the man who discovered its ruins, Heinrich Schliemann, was a careful, heroic archaeologist. The truth is, he was an impatient treasure hunter. He was so eager to find older gold buried deep underground that he used dynamite. He blasted right past the actual city of Troy, destroying the very history he claimed to care about. Early historical digs were often driven by destructive greed rather than a desire to preserve the past. Now, modern researchers have to step in and fix the damage those early explorers left behind. You might think the fierce Amazon warrior princesses who battled heroes in Greek legends were entirely made up, like ancient comic book characters. But scientists recently opened 2,500-year-old graves in Russia and found the remains of nomadic women called Scythians. They rode horses, fought in fierce battles, and were buried with their bronze daggers, razor-sharp arrows, and actual battle scars. The legends were based on real, highly skilled fighters. Speaking of legends, there is a popular conspiracy about a small clay jar found in Iraq, containing a copper tube and an iron rod. Some people claimed it was a Baghdad battery, an ancient electrical power source. Archaeologists tested this idea and found it would make a terrible battery. Its actual purpose was entirely practical. The jar and metal were used as an environmental seal to safely store paper magic scrolls and protect them from rotting away in the damp earth. No electricity required. We see a similar distortion with Queen Cleopatra. Movies usually depict her as an Egyptian seductress who relied entirely on her beauty to manipulate powerful Roman generals. The historical record paints a different picture. Cleopatra was actually of Greek descent, and as her own ancient coins show, she had a prominent nose and didn't fit modern Hollywood beauty standards. Instead, she relied on her genius-level intellect. She spoke many different languages and outsmarted entire empires with brilliant political strategies. Ancient people were highly practical and politically complex. Over the centuries, their true identities have repeatedly been overwritten by romanticized fiction and enemy propaganda. Another spooky narrative you often hear is that the massive ancient Maya civilization completely vanished into the dense jungle without a trace. They didn't disappear into thin air. When the local weather patterns shifted and the region became too dry, millions of Maya simply packed up and migrated to new cities with better access to water. This diagram shows how modern scientists find them today. They fly airplanes over the jungle and shoot harmless lasers, called LiDAR, down through the trees. LiDAR stands for Light Detection and Ranging, a remote sensing method that uses pulsed lasers to map the ground. By stripping away the canopy digitally, they discovered massive, interconnected stone superhighways and sprawling city foundations still perfectly intact right under the forest floor. Take the 1513 Peary Race map.
Conspiracies claim its bottom edge shows an ice-free Antarctica drawn by extraterrestrials, but map experts debunked this. That section is just a stretched, distorted drawing of South America, containing common era-specific human drawing errors. Observer prejudice also created the myth surrounding Great Zimbabwe, a massive, stunning stone castle in Africa built without any mortar. Early colonial explorers refused to believe indigenous Africans could engineer such incredible, perfectly fitted walls, so they invented stories about wandering foreigners building it. It took rigorous archaeological digging by researchers like Gertrude Caton Thompson to prove those explorers wrong. Her work confirmed that the ancestors of the local Shona people were the true architectural masterminds behind the entire complex. These seemingly impossible mysteries of lost civilizations almost always turn out to be the result of misunderstood geography, natural climate shifts, or observer prejudice rather than science fiction interventions. The same applies to ancient engineering. The Colossus of Rhodes was a giant bronze statue. Old mythical drawings always show it doing a dramatic split right over a bustling harbor entrance, with ships sailing between its legs.
This 3D wireframe shows the structural reality. Modern engineering calculations prove this is physically impossible. A 105-foot bronze statue standing in that wide stance would immediately snap at the knees under its own immense weight. It actually stood safely on solid ground beside the water. Then there is the Antikythera mechanism, an incredibly advanced Greek astronomical tracker. It is often celebrated as a flawless, almost otherworldly ancient computer. While it is a brilliant invention, modern digital testing shows it had significant engineering flaws. Its gears were prone to slipping and would routinely jam up completely after just a few months of use. Finally, there is the dramatic myth of the Great Library of Alexandria. The popular story blames Julius Caesar for burning down all that ancient knowledge in a single apocalyptic fire. In reality, the library suffered a slow, unglamorous decline over centuries. It fell victim to budget cuts, lost funding from the city, and isolated minor riots. The books weren't destroyed all at once. They simply faded away over time. Ancient marvels were bound by the exact same mundane realities we deal with today. They faced structural limits and mechanical glitches and financial deficits, which actually makes their achievements feel much more human and less magical. History is not a static set of dusty facts sitting quietly in a textbook. It is an active, ongoing scientific investigation that is constantly rewriting the record. By applying new technologies like DNA sequencing and LiDAR mapping, we can finally correct the generational telephone game of the past. DNA sequencing is a laboratory technique used to determine the exact genetic code of an organism. Seeking out the real, data-driven truth gives us a much richer understanding of who we are, and it is ultimately much more fascinating than settling for made-up legends. If you enjoy this content, there is more on the channel. Make sure you like and subscribe for more. The next time you hear a wild historical claim, remember to question it and always look closer for the scientific reality beneath the myth.